It's a great day to be rich. It is a great day to be rich. Lock it in. It's a great day to be rich. Realize I am conscious north, the east, the south, and the west. I am the head and not the tail. Money loves me and I love money. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars comes to me easily and effortlessly every single day. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and successful and free. Thank you, God, in me. I am Vivian Rich. I am super excited today to be with you, to share with you about emotions, the fuel of manifestations. A lot of times people don't think about it, don't make the connection, and wonder what happened. Well, that's not going to be you any longer, my rich friends, because we're going to discuss this here and we're going to talk about practical ways that you can actually manage your emotions as well as be able to predict your manifestations with ease. Thank you so much for being here. Be sure to hit the like and the share button and make sure you turn on the subscription. Click subscribe. You know, you like hanging out here. We definitely want to help you to know that success does leaves clues, as well as to help you build wealth through business and to set up your systems, to know that success is not a secret, it is a system. So today we are talking about emotions are the fuel for manifestations. I'm actually celebrating 1 year of actually being here after I had an emergency situation last summer. Last August, I had this situation where I was in so much pain. I didn't know what it was. I never experienced this before. And now I've bear children and that was painful, but this was like above that. I had never experienced this kind of pain before. And so my guy, he was like, okay, I tell you what, I've been hearing you going over there and I know you're in pain and I've been hearing you trying to, manipulate and work your body through that. You got a choice. Either they're going to come and pick you up or I'm going to take you to the emergency room. Nonetheless, I end up in the emergency room, had a procedure done where I found out I didn't know this. My stomach was aching. I couldn't walk. My head, everything. I was just in so much pain, like contraction. So I get there and, they do some tests and things of this nature. And they ask, that question. They do the tests. And I'm like, oh, no, that's not in the picture for us. Everybody's grown in our house and we don't plan on starting over. That was one of those tests they asked. And it, of course, came back negative. But they went on and did some more tests and they concluded that I had kidney stone. Anybody out here ever had a kidney stone? If you had a kidney stone, go ahead and say stone in the chat. Say stone in the chat if you've ever experienced that, because that is a pain like no other kind of pain to be described. Okay, I didn't know that. Well, never experienced that before. And so while I was there and they were continuing to say, and diagnose and look at the stone and measure it and tell me that it was a huge stone, larger than, normal to pass through, and it would need some assistance with getting out and all of these things. I'm laying there on the bed and I start asking myself this question: how did I get here? And then I went to the next question: how do I get out of here? How do I get out of here with ease? How do I get out of here with ease? Well, the first question was answered and it came resentment. Resentment was the word. And I was like, what? I don't think I resent anything. I let it go. I pretty much let things go. I'm easy. Most people, in my world know that, right? That I'm pretty much cream and I let it go. It's like, okay, we have our situation and keep it moving. Well, apparently there were some things that came to mind while I was waiting and waiting and waiting. You know how it is in the emergency room, right? Waiting for them to come back and share, the latest. And it started to come to me of different things that I had been holding inside. Of course, when you're in that kind of pain, you feel like you're on your way out. That's what I felt like. I was on my way out and I had no way of coming back. But they got me stabilized. But in that stabilization place, I was just sitting there and I had the word resentment come. And when the word resentment came, different thoughts started to come because I didn't think I had any resentment. And resentment, for those of you that may not be clear on what it looks like and what it is, it's, you have a thought and a feeling about something. You know, someone steps on your toe and they say, I'm sorry. You're okay with that. But someone's just dancing around and you say, well, be careful, you're near my toe and you can't quite move. You're like in a tight confinement area and someone's just like bouncing around and moving and they got the spike heels or whatever. And you're in a close confinement and you're like, okay, hold on, be careful. And you try to scoot back a little bit and they actually end up hitting your toe. That's different. And you don't say anything. Or you decide to go off, right? You decide to go off. But if you don't say anything and you hold it in and you walk away from the situation, what you're doing is you're holding it in, you're stuffing it, you're packing it, as they used to say, pack it, stuff it, whatever you got to do to get over it and get with it, right? So you're holding those feelings in. Someone hurt your feelings. They say some things, that are maybe true at the moment, but that's not the truth of you. They may say some things about your way of dress, your way of conversating, your way of being. They may say something about you. And sometimes it's constructive criticism, but it's just not well received at that time. Anybody experience that? Well, those are the foundations for resentment. Little things like that. Someone is supposed to be helping you, and then you look up and you realize you're doing all the work and they're doing little seeds of resentment grow in there. Whereas you don't really get it off your chest, you hold it in. You don't even tell nobody about it. You just holding it in, you're packing it. And when you're doing that, and what happens over time, our bodies and our emotions start to get hard and rigid. They get hard and rigid. And the hardening starts by what they call calcification, like a callus. You ever had a callus on your foot or on your finger where you rub it so much, you're doing the same thing on that so often that it creates a hardening of the skin. Well, that hardening also happens within our body when we hold in emotions. Our blood and everything in our body is fluid and liquid. It's supposed to flow, even in the urinary tract, which causes for the kidney stones. It's a flow. And when we don't, and when it's not flowing, it gets hard and calcifies into little rocks and little stones, hence the kidney stone. That's what's happening in our body. So anytime we're holding feelings in, and I'm not telling you to go out there and just go off on people everywhere, okay? But when we're holding in and our feelings about things and we're not expressing ourselves, or we're holding resentment and anger, that's what it is, an anger turned inwardly. They call that depression. That's typically what happens. That's the leading cause of that. When we're holding on to those things like that, what ultimately happens is it comes back to haunt us and do us more harm. So your girl was in the hospital for a good weekend. My first Sunday was ruined in a sense. I was there. I do this first Sunday every month with my family, and I couldn't do it. And I was in the hospital. Because I was holding on to some emotions that I did not process properly. I had my feelings about certain things and did not let those people that were a part of that know how they could support me and how we can move forward rather than me just holding on to it. And I want to share that with you, rich friends. You don't want to hold on to it. There's ways to effectively communicate even on the tough situations. All right. Tough conversations need to be had. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be done in the most negative way. It can be done in the most positive way. You can sit down with someone and say, schedule a time after the energy, let it calm down, let it simmer. Let it simmer. Don't do it when you're enraged, and never have conversations when you're really enraged, especially with people that you really do care about, because those words will never, ever, ever be able to come back. Once they're out, and the emotions that go with them, go and find more more emotions similarly, and then it creates this big thing. Okay, you don't want to have that. No, we don't want to have any of that. So what you want to do is you want to have those tough conversations, but I would say have those conversations within yourself. Something I read that was really interesting was how Abraham Lincoln handled situations, especially, during the time of war, how he handled the situation. One of his key generals had done the unthinkable, actually gave up the battle, lost the battle intentionally. It was all like mapped out. Okay, you do 1, 2, 3, paint by numbers. Okay, this is easy. You do this, boom, we're done, and can unite the nation. Well, nonetheless, one of his generals did not do that. And he was livid. He was angry. He was upset. What he did was he actually wrote a note of his frustrations and his disgust, and even kind of spoke to the incompetence of this general. All right. He wrote it all out, got it off his chest. Upon his passing and looking in his desk drawer, the note was still in there and it was sealed in the envelope, never mailed. But I'm pretty sure he and that general had conversations because, as we know, hence history, we are united here as the United States, no longer having a civil war in that regard at that time, you know. But the way he dealt with it from a leadership perspective was he definitely released his frustrations on pen and paper. And I invite you, rich friend, you can release your frustrations on pen and paper so that it can allow you to clarify your thoughts and really process your emotions around that. You may even actually go for a walk, go for a run, go out in nature. It will help you with processing that and let it go. And then, of course, schedule to have that conversation at a mutually agreeable time with the other person or persons involved, but come to the table with a solution. All right. Not necessarily your solution only, but how can we work together to build this relationship? How can we work together to move beyond this point? Because if we are continually on different sides, it will never work out. And the only thing that's going to happen to you, rich friend, is you're going to end up in the hospital at best. At best. And we don't want you there. We don't want you there because it's stopping your manifestations. It's going to only manifest more of the negative things or the things you prefer not. However, if you are feeling joyful and lighthearted about things, you can definitely manifest faster. You're going to manifest faster. So a situation happened. Every situation does have a goal, a silver lining in it, as they say. Every situation has a silver lining. There is good in every situation. Can't quite see it maybe right when you're in it, but there is something to be gained from every situation. There is no such thing as a lost or wasted experience. I kid you not. There is no such thing as a lost or wasted experience. Either you're going to learn some new lessons or you're going to learn how to win. And maybe even you'll learn how to fly. And more so, how to trust your spirit within you to guide you to the next. It's in those processes how you live richer with ease. Slowing it down, dialing it back, managing your emotions. Your emotions are your most powerful tool. They are the fuel that manifestations need in order to come into your experience. So be it happy or indifferent, you are manifesting. You are utilizing full fuel of your emotions to manifest and bring into your experience whatever it is that is attached to those emotions. So I invite you, rich friend, to look at your emotions, check them out, check out how you're feeling. Not just a great, how are you doing? People say, how you doing? How you doing? No, how are you feeling? How are you feeling, rich friends? Check how you feel. Check how you feel when someone says something to you. Check how you feel when you see something beautiful. Check in with yourself because that is the fuel to your next manifestations. Until next time, I am Vivian Rich. Today is a great day to be rich. Look forward to speaking with you soon.